back to the show, Eric. We're episode number 31 of the Readiness Report.
Special Olympia
edition. So normally we do the news at this point, but we're actually going to just talk about the Olympia. And also we have a great special announcement. Usually every year we have the tier operator get together. We call it the Readiness Riot in November. And obviously this November is not a normal November.
No, not a normal year, but
no, not a normal year. And we would love to have had all the operators here and to present these awards, which is actually the award to go from tier 2 to tier 1. So you can get to tier 2 from making sales, doing events, all kinds of participation. You can get you from tier 5 to tier 2, which is a really big, not easy thing to do. But to get from tier 2 to tier 1, it requires an invitation.
Yeah, and there's just a select handful of people who've ever made it to that level. So it's a big deal.
It's a very big
15,000 people, that's a big deal.
Yeah, a very, very big deal. And so today, not yet, we're going to save it till right before we move to our first guest. So we have a lot of cool guests today. So these are the guys that are supposed to call in. No promises because that's how it works with a lot of bodybuilders. So, they may say they're going to do it, but we have to wait and see. But, some bodybuilder / business people, Bob CICHERILLO, I know we got Dan Solomon calling in. We got some of my favorite bodybuilders from back in the day. And of course, the king himself, Jay Cutler. We got Flex Wheeler said yes. We got MILOS SARCEV, who I know will be calling. He loves to talk bodybuilding. Oh, yeah. We got Kevin LEVRONE, my old number one favorite.
Yeah.
No, I hope Jay's not upset. Jay's my favorite bodybuilder, but favorite physique, it's always Kevin.
Oh, yeah, Kevin had the best physique.
Yeah, unbelievable. And who am I forgetting? Is there anybody else? Was that all of them?
Unless, our friend Kai wants to make an appearance.
Yeah, Mr. Kai Greene, Mr. Getting It Done, of course, will certainly be. He's actually here, so he has no excuse. We can physically track him down and bring him in. So we'll get his opinion on what his favorite moment for the Olympia was. That's kind of like the gist of the show, because everybody can give predictions. Prediction shows, there's hundreds of them. Everybody's doing predictions.
And it's just, again, you're never going to know because obviously it's what that person looks like the day of.
Yeah, it's all speculation. Yeah. Me and Dave back in the day at the Arcs Muscle would do multiple speculation shows. You call them prediction shows, but it's just speculation, or we go based on really nothing. You would say, oh, well, I think Rami's glutes are a little better in that
maybe
picture.
Saw a picture on Get Big.
Yeah, based on nothing. So instead of doing that, what everybody's doing, we're going to actually hear from people that were like us, who've been to many, many Olympias, in a lot of cases competed in Olympias, won Olympias. And like Bob, the voice of bodybuilding, he sat in the best seat for, years and years and years watching the show up close.
And then you have, like, with Kevin, I'd like to hear his perspective because, he went through kind of like 2 generations of bodybuilding because he went through the heyday of the 90s and then the transition into Dorian era. Mm-hmm. And he was not always, but so often he was number 2.
Yes.
But fan favorite, one of the best physiques. So it'd be interesting just his point of view of that. Because also too, like Wheeler. Wheeler, unfortunately, nobody expected Ronnie to be Ronnie.
No, it was, if you talk about speculations and prediction shows, the year, obviously there was no shows back then when it happened in 98 when Ronnie won instead of Flex. But if you read every single magazine, every magazine, every article was like, this is the year of Flex Wheeler. Everybody was saying
that he was going to become Mr. Olympia finally. Yeah, I remember those Flex magazines.
Yeah, it was like almost like a certainty. So to hear that Ronnie Coleman won, me and pretty much everybody else in the whole bodybuilding world was like, what?
Yeah, because
how did he win? He's not even good.
The year prior, wasn't he 8th?
Yes, 6th or 8th or something.
Because he went from tied for 16th every year. And I think he went like 11th, then 8th, and then won it.
Yeah, and he had won a few that year. He had won some of the European Grand Prix shows, but still, that was not a big deal, and people didn't really know. There wasn't a whole lot of coverage of it, so you just saw a few pages in the magazine covering the whatever Grand Prix that Ronnie won. But basically, it came out of nowhere. It was not something that he was predicted. I think if you would have asked 100 people that are really into bodybuilding or in the industry, I think 0 would have said Ronnie was going to win.
Nobody ever would have said Ronnie Coleman.
Which is cool. I love that about bodybuilding is it just shows you, because people always say there's conspiracy theorists that say that shows are fixed or all this other shit. But look, Ronnie came out of nowhere. He wasn't anybody's favorite. He didn't have any connections. He wasn't attached to anybody in any way that would give him any kind of benefit. Brian Dobson was nobody. He wasn't he wasn't sponsoring any shows or anything like that.
Just the guy who pushed him.
Yeah, just the guy who pushed him. So if Ronnie can do it, you never know. Maybe this Olympia will have somebody come out of the blue and win it. Maybe next year we'll have James Hollinshead come and shock the world. You never know.
It's happened before. That's the thing with Dorian. When Dorian came over in '91 to go up against Haney, he's like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. Haney was so nervous. He said that was it. He decided, I'm not going to be able to keep up with this guy.
They pretty much said if it wasn't for his, well, one, because it was Haney, but then two, if it wasn't for his skinhead tattoos and his hair, he would have won.
Yeah.
So
with that in mind, I think it's appropriate that we give our favorite memories. I'm going to let you go first because I have one that pops out. I have a bunch, but one.
Yeah, I got a bunch too, but for me, I guess because it was more near and dear to like me as a person. So I traveled with Ronnie forever. Yeah. With BSN,
which is a story. You know, you ought to do that sometime. Tell some Ronnie stories. I know probably Brendan may not love it, and Ronnie may not love it, but it'd be pretty cool for you to do some Ronnie stories.
The 07 Olympias is quite the story, but you know, so there's, you know, when he lost in 06, you knew it was a changing of the guards. It wasn't just like a fluke. It was like, that was the end of an era. Yeah. You know, and it was the beginning of a Jay era. So, and I like Jay because we'd actually signed Jay and got sued over it. Mm-hmm. Jay will tell that story. He had signed with BSN and then he didn't realize there was something in his contract where he couldn't, and we got sued by Muscle Tech. It was a whole mess. Oh, wow. So, as we always felt like, hey, Jay was going to overtake him at some point. So we wanted to have them both. But yeah, it was one of those things where I remember going on Get Big to look for results because that's where I used to go to look. And I click on and I'm like, holy shit, like Jay won. And it was like, there's no going back. That's the end of it. And there's part of that story. And again, I don't know the truth of it. If you watch the 06 Olympia on YouTube, you see it sometimes. But supposedly they told Ronnie like, hey, your era's over. Yeah. If you just go away quietly and never compete again, we'll give you first place prize money. Just essentially step down. Like, we don't want you on stage again, your era's over. And there's a point like when they're in the final judging, you know, when they're the announcements, you see him go like this. And it looks like he's doing it at the judging box. So he always said it was him telling him no deal, like, I'm not doing this. And of course he came back in 06 or 07 and was kind of a shell of himself. And yeah, that's a whole nother story there.
Well, Ronnie never wanted to stop competing. I mean, I was there at the Masters Olympia. Like Jarka's Masters.
Oh, when he kept saying he was going to compete.
He was going to compete. There's no doubt about it. He was ready to compete. He was, you know, dehydrating himself like there at the athletes meeting. And I think people convinced him, take a look at him. And we're like, dude, just guest pose. Like, you're not going to win. You're going to embarrass yourself. And he ended up guest posing and it looked not good.
And that's why I feel bad in the 07 one, because that's another one that stands out because he got back up there and he got fourth. But I mean, I hate to say it, that was a gift at that point because the nerve damage had really accelerated. Yeah. You know, his tricep wasn't even there really. Yeah. So, you know, I feel bad because you went from this guy who took the sport. I mean, you had every era with bodybuilding's been, it's kind of resets it. Like Dorian brought in the hardness and graininess. Then Ronnie came in and it became a size competition. And then Jay kind of took both of those. And then you just see a version of him and you're like, that's not Ronnie. Yeah. So those are my kind of two that stand out just because it was so close to me. And then the other one, it's very similar as well when Sean beat Phil.
Oh yeah.
Because I've never heard so many people cheer for a loss.
Nuts. People went nuts.
It was like the Patriots losing the Super Bowl. Yeah. People who absolutely hate them. It was literally.
It was unbelievable. Well, it was one of those moments where you're like, this can't have just happened. Yeah. Like it was like it didn't seem possible. He'd been on such a roll that. It was also close. It wasn't like he demolished him. It was very close. It was the bubble gut. They saw the bubble gut. They said, we're not giving it to him because of the bubble gut. And any other time that's ever happened in Olympia history,
it's always gone to the champ. Yeah.
Always favored the champion.
And that's where you knew that, again, somehow, somewhere, someone wanted him out of the way. It feels like, you know, that they didn't default to the previous champ. Because again, like you said, it was so close. It wasn't like glaring where Sean was just that much better. It was down to those few little details. And yeah, you never heard a crowd erupt.
No, that was a big one.
You just get behind someone who lost.
So for me, I have two. I guess I'll do two too. One of them being a Ronnie one. My first Olympia was the 2000 Olympia.
Oh, okay.
That was my first Olympia. That first one, I was not old enough to drink in Vegas when I went. It was at the Mandalay Bay, and we had an awesome time. I couldn't drink or whatever. We had an awesome time, and I remember Ronnie coming out because he was last. They called him out last. And he walked out on stage, and you're like, it's like he's a different thing. Like this is a whole different, like literally the everybody else went, and you're like, wow, Kevin looks great. Oh, Sean looks good. Oh. And then he came out, and you're like, holy shit. Like this guy is like and doing a whole different thing than these other guys.
And then every year he brought out a look that was just like, what the hell? It's a different Ronnie.
Yeah.
And then that's what made him stand out from everybody. Because
Yeah.
like you said, he blew everyone away, and then he blew away his previous physique.
Yeah. He was just. It's hard for people to imagine because you have to like really almost be there to see it. How like huge he was and how dense he was, and the difference between him and everybody else was just vast. And another one was when Jay had lost and Jay won again. So I remember when like feeling like, it sounds kind of crazy, but feeling a little emotional for Jay because it was such a big deal, right? That never happened. We never had a champion who lost, was dethroned, and then came back and won again.
Yeah.
It's never happened. So the chances were not with him, not on his side. So he came back, I think 2009, and won again, and the crowd just went insane. And they had everything. You had the stomp. Johnny's showing the stomp. Yeah, they had the famous stomp picture that's actually hanging in the marketing room area up there. And the confetti came down, and it was like you could tell Jay's a very stoic guy, but you could tell he was emotional. It affected him tremendously. And so that was a very cool moment.
And one thing about Jay, like Jay moments, that's probably one of the most gracious professional bodybuilders.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he lost to Dexter, he wasn't a baby about it. He was very congratulatory. And then, he's the one who kind of groomed Phil to succeed him. And then it was just a passing of the baton to him when he took over. Yeah.
Very few pro bodybuilders, let me tell you, would get another guy who's going to be who knows that this guy's going to be my competition. He's going to be coming after my money. Help him get a contract. Help him hook him up with Weider, hook him up with guest posings, basically promote him internally to help him out. It just doesn't happen.
Well, because that's where, Jay loves the sport of bodybuilding, where he wanted to see it progress.
Yeah,
and there was
help people too.
And there was the future of it.
Yeah. So we're going to go to all of our guests, starting with Bob Chick. But before we do that, we have some announcements to make for the tier operators, moving from tier 2 to tier 1, which means, Eric, that these guys and girls are going to get not only a upgrade, they're getting a salary. They're an actual elite athlete now.
Yep.
So they're the same level as Blessing or Kai Greene. They're on the team officially as an athlete. And so the big thing is that doesn't mean you need to be a pro bodybuilder. It doesn't mean you need to even have a crazy physique. It means you have to love the brand, represent our beliefs, and be making progress.
Yep. And that's what all these people have done.
Yep.
So who are we going to announce
first? Let's start with the one that basically personification of progress, right?
Yes.
A gentleman who came onto the program after losing some weight and took that motivation and continued losing weight, and went from chronically obese. I don't remember how much he weighed.
460 pounds or something.
I was going to say 500, 400 something pounds, and basically got in good enough shape to compete in a contest. Now, this gentleman, where is he?
You go.
Poro, known as Poro.
Yeah, known as Poro around here.
Poro is actually a member of the gym as well. We see him all the time, and they're training very hard.
He works in the warehouse part-time.
Works in the warehouse part-time. He's not getting any of this for any of that, though. He's getting it for his participation in the program and moving up the ranks. This kid worked really hard to get this. This is not an easy thing to do. To actually become a tier operator that becomes an elite athlete is like, how many do we have now? We have 7 or 8? 7 or 8.
Is it even that many?
Maybe.
Well, only be 6.
A few have left. So I think 6. Well, we're about to be 9. Okay. So 9 total out of 16,000, almost 16,000 tier operators. So Poro, congratulations. We got this for you, along with a brand new contract. Next is Melly Branch. So anybody who's a tier operator has seen this name in the picture, in the closed group, on the Facebook, also Instagram, and really everywhere else. She is extremely, extremely active, highly active. And it's funny because some of the times with the tier operators, we hear, how do I get more sales, or how do I move the ranks? I don't have that big social media following. But the truth is, a lot of times that doesn't have anything to do with it. It's because of word of mouth. It's because of the people that they're around, they influence. Or like Poro has made such a dramatic change. People want to know, well, I need to lose weight too. How did you do it?
Yep. And following his footsteps.
And that, by giving them good advice, telling what they did, and then what supplements they take, this is really the way that we've seen people move up the ranks.
Yep. And that's one of the best ways.
And finally, and our last, and normally we only do 2. A man and a girl, a boy and a girl, a man and a woman. But in this case, it had been a little while. We wanted to make sure we fully reward all three people, and want to encourage people to go even harder because there will be more people in the future.
Oh yeah.
So finally, Joshua Horn wins his upgrade to tier 1. He's moving on up.
It's been awarded.
He has been awarded. So Joshua Horn, congratulations. Josh, also like the other two, has worked his ass off and did not come easy. This is a serious undertaking, and I encourage everybody to check out the Tier Operator program where you can join up with a lot of like-minded individuals who love the brand or focusing on fitness and improving their life. These people, these guys and girls become friends. I mean, it's like it's a peer group.
It's like a family. And that's the thing too, is it's not about if someone competes or what kind of shape they're, it's really just about how much they get behind the brand. And like you say, how much are they helping other people and getting healthier, and, whether they're influencing other people to do the same, like, Poro.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a lot of people have loved being in the program, being part of the Tier Operator program because of the community. So this is really a community of really cool people where people end up hanging out, meeting friends, going to shows together, and it's really cool. So check out tieroperator.com. If you Google Tier Operator, you'll see we're the first result on Google. So go check out the program, sign up. It's for free. All we look for when you sign up, we make sure you don't, you represent the brand well. Right. So no nudity, no racism, no crazy shit, and we'll reach out to you and hopefully you'll get onto the team. With Bob Check.
Yeah.
All right.
What's up, Redcon One family? It's your boy, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. And boy, let me tell you about the deal we've got for you. This weekend and this weekend only, spend $50 and get a free limited edition Redcon One Militia t-shirt. With a purchase of $85, guess what? You'll be able to take advantage of getting our rapid fat burning stack. I'm talking about double tap powder. We're talking about our CLA, our Yohimbe, and L-carnitine rapid fat burning stack, brought to you only by Redcon One. If you spend over $130 this weekend, guess what? We will throw in free shipping. But wait, we're not done yet. Use code RED35 and take advantage of an additional 35% off, only by Redcon One this weekend. Tell them your boy sent you.
What's going on, guys? My name is Josh Horn. I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts, and I'm beyond excited to announce that I'm one of Redcon One's newest athletes. So about me, I started off as a tier operator, worked my way up to tier 2, just kept going at it. I was relentless and really just trying to put myself out there and be a good representation of the company. Next thing you know, I'm still floored to announce I was surprised by being selected as a Redcon One elite athlete. So before I did all that, a little bit about me real quick. I was a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps Infantry. I went to college, played a little college football. After my third ACL tear, I stepped away, but that's okay because, as one door closes, another one opens. And that's what happened for me. I really focused in on this whole fitness thing. I became a certified trainer and became a tier operator, obviously, opened up my Instagram and really just started focusing on helping people, stay at that highest state of readiness. And it's just taken me to levels that I never thought that it would. I'm going to be competing in my first show as Classic Physique in the kind of middle start of 2021. And I'm beyond excited for that. It's going to be my first time doing that, but I expect to, represent Redcon One in the best way possible. So that's about me. I'm just excited to have this opportunity to be able to continue to help other people and help myself stay at the highest state of readiness. So thank you guys so much for all your support, and I can't wait to see what we achieve in the future.
All right, guys, you may be familiar with me. I go by I Am Melly Fate. My name is Melanie. I've been a tier operator for some time now. I am super stoked. So I used to manage a health and nutrition store, and I was super informed on Redcon One products. I waited until after having my daughter, went through postpartum depression, and I went ahead and after around November of last year, when I got back into the game of fitness, I went ahead and became a tier operator. And throughout this process, since that time, the program has just totally been there for me. So I'm really excited. I just, have finally found myself again. If I even had myself before, I know who I am now. So I'm just really, really excited. I am honored, and I am just super looking forward to anything happens now. So if you're unfamiliar with me, I am insane. Anyway, let's do this.
Matt. Hey, Ben. Come here. Making me get up out of my chair again.
So we're going to announce the tier operators who are getting promoted to athlete.
Wait, I'm getting promoted to athlete?
No, not you. No, Alex Poro. You know, Alex Poro. The local guy, tier operator, is a tier 2.
Oh, that guy. Hello.
He knows. So let's bring Alex in. Let's surprise him. Let's make him pack his own order and then tell him the news at the end of it.
Wait. We're going to make him work? Oh, I like that even more.
Plus, we'll give everyone else a chance to see how the process works. How does their order get picked and packed and sent out of the warehouse?
It's a pretty good idea, Ben.
All right, Alex Poro here, coming to pick up and pack my own order. If you guys are a tier operator, this is one of the perks. You make your sales quota every month, you get free supplements. Let's go. Go with the full-on MRE shake. It's a meal replacement shake. It's all animal-based protein, no whey protein. So if you have any digestion problems, this is my go-to post-workout.
7 pounds of pure animal-based protein right there.
Typically, for my post-workout shake, I do 2 scoops of MRE, which is the full calorie. It has 75 grams of carbs per serving, which is 4 scoops. I do 2 scoops of MRE and 2 scoops of MRE Light, which is our low-carb alternative for if you're on a cut. Now we're going to head over here to our basic training line. This is all single ingredient supplements that you could add and build your own products and stack. I go with your straightforward creatine monohydrate for, again, my post-workout shake. So just a couple t-shirts, the best apparel line in the supplement industry. Now we have Halo, which is part of my lean muscle mass stack. I take 3 of these a day. Suggested use is 1, I believe, Matt. 1 a day, 2 a day, but $11 Bravo. This is for suggested use 30 minutes post-workout to trigger mTOR response.
Again, this is a tier 2 fulfillment, $500 worth of product and apparel. So anybody who has over 150 sales, this is what they could be pulling in every single month. So tier operators, keep pushing and you'll get there one day. Well, guys, that's a tier 2 fulfillment, picked, packed, and ready to go. Normally, we would slap the shipping label on it and send it to Poro, but we had him come here today because we wanted to know how it was to pack your absolute last fulfillment order as a tier operator.
Hey, man, that's your last order you're going to create and build as a tier operator.
We getting fired?
No, congratulations, man. You're going to be named athlete next week. So,
That's awesome.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
unless you want to get fired. I mean,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
so we wanted to have you come and do this yourself, not only to help the tier operator, not only to help the warehouse staff out in this crazy time from Black Friday, but we wanted you to pick and pack your last fulfillment order as a tier operator before we have to do it for you all the time.
Well, I'm humbled. I'm honored. Thank you, and thank you, the tier operator program. Thank you, everybody at Redcon, you guys, upper management, not only for this opportunity, but making me feel part of the family. And I can't wait to see what 2021 has.
All right, I'd like to announce our next guest, the voice of the Mr. Olympia, the voice of bodybuilding himself, Bob CICHERILLO. Bob, welcome to the show.
Yo, what's up, Aaron? What's up, Eric?
What's going on, Bob?
Hey, Bob. So Bob, the gist of the show is we're talking about some of the legends of the sport, yourself included, certainly a legend, a bunch of facets, but being on stage and having the best view of the show. How many years in a row have you had the best view of the show?
Oh, it's been a while now, man. I kind of got my foot in there years ago with Triple H. When we did the press conference and all that stuff, and then me and Sean took over duties, and then they booted his short little butt out of there and gave me full reign and control. So it's been it's got to be like year 15 now or something around there.
2005, right? But
yeah. Your memory is probably better than mine, Eric. But yeah, I think it was around 05 or so. So yeah, this would be here we are, man. Time flies.
Time flies. That's true. So not for people that are out there that don't know you, Bob, you not only are you the voice of bodybuilding, you've been doing the emceeing the show for 15 years, but you're also a historian of bodybuilding. You love the sport and have some major, right? So your view is very different than some other guys we had who strictly were competing on stage. You know, we're having quite a few guys from your era. You know, we got Flex and Kevin coming on, and Jay, who kind of went past your era, started with you and went past, or started around the same time, a little bit after. But you actually have been a fan for so long and then saw it from both directions. When you think back of all these moments, do you have one in particular that jumps out to you?
God, there's so many, bro. I mean, we could probably do an hour special on it, you know. But the unique thing about the position I'm in is I'm the only one in it, which is really cool. So I'm right up there with the guys. I can hear what they're saying. I can hear all the smack talk going on. That's certainly one thing I'll miss about Dexter. Anybody puts it out there when they turn around, there's all kinds of smack going on. It's hilarious. And Dexter's certainly in the mix. His last Olympia, so we're going to be celebrating that no matter where he is. I'm sure he'll be in the mix. Favorite moments, God, there's a bunch. I mean, being on stage, one of my favorite moments has always been when Jay Cutler finally won the Olympia. This was such a huge moment. I mean, it was a sold out event. Everybody was there. Again, Ronnie was just going on a tear. You know, Jay couldn't catch him. And all of a sudden he catches him. And when I made the announcement, that place exploded. I mean, I've done interviews before. I've said this. You could feel the percussion from the audience.
I will now announce the winner of the 2006 Mr. Olympia. The next name you hear will be the winner of the 2006 Mr. Olympia. You can bring the Olympia gold medal, the Sandow statue, and a check for $155,000 to the 2006 Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler!
Hit you, and again, I'm the only one on the stage other than the guys. And it's like, wow, like, oh my God, like you can feel it. It felt like everybody came 20 feet closer to you. And in years past now, because Ronnie was winning over and over, the announcement wouldn't even come yet and people were filing out. They knew it was coming. Okay, Ronnie's going to be the 5-time now, 6-time now, 7-time now, that type of thing. And nobody left. That was the coolest thing, was that they went crazy. They all stood up and they stood there, and I made my way over to, gave him his moment, made my way over, and everybody was still there. Not one person left that place. They wanted to hear what Jay had to say. It was such an an enormous moment in Olympia history, especially for Jay, who finally did it. So that would have to rank up there. It's got to be up there.
Yeah. Is there Bob? Is there a worse moment where you're like a mess up you made or something, where you're like, oh no? So I can think of one, right?
I got one in particular that was the absolute worst moment, and this was years ago when David Pecker and was in the mix there with AMI, and Ben was still on the stage. There's of and things and stuff, and so. Here we go. Now, at the time, it's me and Sean Ray on stage, and this is one time I thank God he was actually with me, because he actually served a purpose. So what happens is, long story real short, because this could take forever, but so Ben goes up there, Ben makes his speech. Ben's gone. Ben introduces Pecker. Pecker goes up. He makes his speech. He's gone. Now, finally, I get the injury. Hey, here's your host, Sean Ray, Bob CICHERILLO, so we come out. Well, it doesn't take me long to figure out as I approach the podium that all my paperwork is gone.
Oh man,
bro, there's nothing there. It's a blank slate. I've got the entire show script. Everything is in order on the podium, sitting there because I don't want to walk out with a bunch of papers. Look like an idiot. So, generally speaking, I would put my stuff on the podium, and that's where it would sit until I came out. Well, one of the guys, either Ben Weeder or Pecker, took my papers. Now, as you know, this is live. This isn't some production. This isn't and I'm shitting my pants, right? I'm like, oh my God. Like, now Steve Stone, who's alive at the time, God bless him, he's head expediter, and he's kind of off to the side of me, off, stage left. And I come out and I kind of throw something to Sean. And, the one good thing about Sean is he can babble, he can talk. So I throw something to him. Well, hey, Sean, it's been many years, but you're back on the Olympia stage. And I figured let him take. And I kind of duck behind him, and I'm like, Steve, I got, where's my papers are gone. And he's like, what papers? I'm like, my papers, they're all gone. And he's like, oh shit. I'm like, find them. I need them. Bro, I can't do anything with, by this time Sean's rounding about, 1986 or so. And I'm like, all right. So I throw something else at him because I basically got to keep this going until, bro, I got nothing. I don't have a person's name. I don't have the order of the event. I got zero. Yeah. And I could feel the sweat going down the back of me, just down the crack of your center of your back. I could feel that cold, clammy, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. And here comes Steve, saving the day, a fistful of papers out there. And I look at him as Sean's drowning on about something. Well, they're Friday night's papers. Oh, no. They're the night before. This is Saturday night. I need Saturday night. I'm like, Steve, I need Saturday. He's like, well, I don't know where they are. I'm like, hey, Pecker's got to have them. Somebody's got to have, So he hunts down Pecker in the green room. Well, Pecker goes out there with this one little piece of paper, does his little speech, welcome everybody, the Olympia, blah, 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 and he's going on doing it, and then he takes all the paper. I must have 40 papers up there. Why this guy takes them all, beyond me. But thank God for Steve Stone. He actually went back, broke into the green room. They're eating olives and cheese and stuff in there, and he grabs the paperwork and he brings. And just as I'm running out of stuff, I mean, like even Sean's running out of shit at this. Now he has no idea what's going on at this point. I was going to ask. No, he doesn't have a clue, bro. He's Alicia Silverstone at this point. He's clueless. So just as I'm getting there, it's like somebody handing off the baton in a race. Here comes Steve. I grabbed the papers from behind Sean. Coming, okay, well, we got a great show, everybody, and went on from that. Now, not a lot of people know that story because it's there's 100 behind the scenes stories of stuff that's going on, especially with Robin Chang. The big shout out to Robin. We did this for many years together, and there's stuff that just goes on, but that nobody would have any clue. There's 10 things that go wrong at any Olympia that, thank God, nobody sees. Hopefully, because we got a great crew. So that's a moment that sticks out. Definitely.
I can imagine. That sounds like very stressful because. For people who don't know and haven't seen enough Olympias to know or been in enough shows, there's no way Bob could make it up. It's not like you could go on.
No,
there's nobody good enough to do it. It's impossible. It's not a thing.
Well, here's a quick one from just the other year, a little more updated. So we did the 50th anniversary and all that. Now that's supposed to be made for TV. We don't normally have that many things that are produced ahead of time. Like there's no, I don't have a script. Like everybody always wants to know if there's a teleprompter. And again, you guys know this because you've been with me for years, but there is no teleprompter. There's no script. There's no nothing. It's just me. I just do what I do, and hopefully people enjoy what I do, and they invite me back. But there's nothing prepared in that sense. Well, the 50th anniversary, there was a whole bunch of stuff that was prepared because it was supposed to be on TV. So this is my big debut, bro. This is it. I'm going to kill this, and the next I'm taking over for Price is Right or something like that. I'm moving on to. I'm moving on to bigger things, bro. So there are scripted things in this. Like there's an opening and there's a certain sequence, and we've got moving mechanical things. Olympia things going to drop. And what happens is it's about 6:57, okay? And all of a sudden I see Robin Chang backstage. Now this is hugely unusual because you guys know the setup. Robin is out on the floor with that big setup, with all the mechanic, computers and things and stuff. He's producing the stuff. The only way I can normally contact Robin is through my earpiece. And actually, he has to contact me. I'm on a microphone, so I can't just, hey, Robin, got a problem here. So at 6:57, I see Robin backstage, and he kind of motions me over, and I'm like, oh shit, this can't be good. And I'm like, yeah, what's up, bro? And he's like, yeah, we got a problem. I'm like, now we got a problem at 2 minutes to go, and the Olympia things going on in the background, Olympia, and I'm like, oh no, like what's up? And he's like, well, Arnold's not here. And I'm like, okay, well, what's that mean? He goes, well, one, we're not exactly sure when he's coming. Two, when he does get here, he wants to go right up on stage. And I'm like, Robin, that's completely against the entire, it blows everything. It's part of a sequence that we had, and he's supposed to be there, or he's not there. I'm like, so what do you want me to do? And he goes, well, just do what you do. And I'm like, just do what I do. Bro, the whole thing's bombed. I mean, this script is blown. I'm like, I got to wing the entire opening, do this thing, and the whole time I got Robin. And if anybody goes back and looks at the footage, we had all the Mr. Olympias coming. So I have, because Arnold isn't there in sequence, I don't have any idea who's there and what order they're in. So all I'm catching in my ear, which you guys have probably done enough production, especially you, Aaron, to know, it's very difficult to speak or say when somebody's in your ear speaking. It's almost impossible. You know what I mean? Because it makes you want to shut up to hear it. So I'm trying to draw on with the Olympia stuff and Joe Weider, back in 1965, the IFBB and the Olympia was born and blah, blah, blah. And I got Robin basically telling me in my ear who's down there and ready to go, because he doesn't even know the seat. So all of a sudden I'll hear Samir Bannout. And I'm like, okay, well, back in '82, blah, blah, blah. Here's Samir Bannout. Meanwhile, I'm getting the updates as we're going, and as the Olympians are coming on stage one by one, I'm getting updates as to where the hell Arnold is. Well, okay, they just drove through the back part. Okay, they're in the back lot. They're coming up. Okay, they're backstage. He's ready to go. And just as we got to the end, I had to make up some stuff. And I'm like, yeah, boy, what a great lineup. All the former Mr. It seems like we're missing somebody. Of course, everybody starts Arnold, ladies and gentlemen, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And here comes Arnold, doing his Arnold impression. Hey, Bob, you look fantastic. How you doing? And here comes Arnold, doing his thing and all that. But what a mess that was.
After all that, Bob, it didn't make it on TV, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of this. That's the caveat is, after all this scrambling, and I thought it actually came out pretty good despite, obviously past that, we had a regular show to do, which went flawlessly. Martine and the crew, they all did a great job. And then the thing, now it's supposed to air on a certain date. I'm with Dan Solomon. We actually were in Houston or something for some reason, right? Not too far afterwards. And it's supposed to be on at, a certain time of the day. So we actually had to get to the hotel. We got to find if they got MSNBC or whatever the hell it was going to be on. They actually did. And we tune in and we're like, oh man, this is going to be great. And all I'm hearing is that, I did talk to Robin before, and he says, no, it came out great. They were very pleased with it. They were pleased with what I did. They came out very professional. And here we come, and 2:30 strikes, and me and Dan are sitting there. We got our popcorn ready, and we're watching. And all of a sudden, the farmers competition comes on, or they're throwing axes and shit, and this and that. We're like, what the hell is this? And now we're like, what's going on? Where's the Olympia, right? It's supposed to be on. No. So now we're scrambling, trying to figure out, and now we're like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. You know what? We're an hour difference in time. That's probably what it is. It's probably not on for another hour. We just thought it, East Coast timer. So, okay, so we kind of regroup, we grab a bite, an hour comes by, the next hour hits, and no Olympia. And we're like, what's that? Okay, well, now it's not a time. So it never saw the light of day.
Wow.
After all that work, after all that planning, after all that strategizing and this and that, and
right?
Oh yeah,
bro, we got nothing, man. My big debut was crashed. That was it.
Bob, is it still in some vault somewhere at MSNBC or what?
They got it. I mean, I did ask, because obviously I talked to Robin, and I'm like, bro, what happened to our? Well, they got into a big thing between AMI and the network and this, and what they were in Pecker, what they were going to show. They wanted to show more of the Expo stuff. They wanted to show more of the Olympia stuff. It actually got embroiled in some big political bullshit. and by proxy, they just never signed off on it. So there is a finished piece of that show. TV made. Robin said it was good. Like he was actually very proud of it. Like he's like, nah, I saw it because it was supposed to go on the air, and in the 11th hour they pulled it. So it does exist somewhere, but it's gonna be like the lost archives years from now. I've never seen it myself. I don't know whether
You get it. Bob.
Yeah,
It's
somebody's
gotta be
got
for
it.
sale for the highest bidder. Somebody's gonna, you know.
I think Redcon 1 should be those people to get in there, buddy.
That's what I'm thinking, man.
Find that damn tape. Let's have a special show. Never seen before by human eyes. I'd be as shocked as anybody how it came out because I have absolutely no idea if this thing came across. You know, Robin said it looked like a regular, real TV production. Like it looked that good, you know. And I'm like,
Well, if Jake bought the Olympia off AMI, then that's IP of the Olympia. So it really should have come in the deal.
you know what? Good point, Eric. It could be that, you know, I mean, Jake obviously owns all intellectual property of the Olympia. Now, again, now you get into that. Well, who owns the property? Is it the network or is it the? I would think it'd be the Olympia, but then again, you know, that stuff goes. It gets weird when you get mixed in with. I don't know. This could be one of those Geraldo vault type things years from now, where you know we got to make a big deal. We'll make a big show, bro. We break into the archives and we find the tape.
That may be it. We need to get some investigative journalism going and get Jay the lawyer, our in-house lawyer, to send some letters out, some very aggressive letters to get
that
this
footage released.
This is history, a piece of history that's being denied from people.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. I'm in. Listen, I'd love to see it just out of pure curiosity. I want to see how it came out.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, Bob, you mentioned a moment ago our good friend Dan Solomon, who's now the CEO of Olympia, and he's actually calling in at this very moment. So I'm gonna let you go, and I'm curious to hear.
Listen, the hell with him, man. We got other things to talk about. You know what I mean? It's who the hell is he?
Get rid of Dan, please. Get rid of Dan.
Yeah. Put him on hold. You know, but
well, Bob, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Olympia tomorrow in Orlando. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, I'm going to listen. You caught me pre-Olympia, so I'm all scruffy up, and I got the hair looks like a mop. At least I got hair. Still, we're one of the three that still got hair, boy. So congratulations. It's
very rare, very rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, Bob. I will see you. In a matter of hours.
I'll see you in less than 24 hours, brothers. I'll see you guys at the Olympia. And once again, history will be made.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
What's up, Redcon 1 family? It's your boy, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. And boy, let me tell you about the deal we've got for you. This weekend and this weekend only, spend $50 and get a free limited edition Redcon 1 Militia t-shirt. With a purchase of $85, guess what? You'll be able to take advantage of getting our rapid fat burning stack. I'm talking about double tap powder. We're talking about our CLA, our Yohimbe, and L-carnitine rapid fat burning stack, brought to you only by Redcon 1. If you spend over $130 this weekend, guess what? We will throw in free shipping. But wait, we're not done yet. Use code RED35 and take advantage of an additional 35% off only by Redcon 1 this weekend. Tell them your boy sent you.
All right. Well, Bob was great. And in the show, Bob mentioned just moments ago about Dan Solomon being with Dan, looking for that broadcast that never showed up.
Yeah, we need to find that.
So I'm very excited to have on the show a longtime friend of mine and the actual CEO of the Olympia. COO. Sorry,
Is that Chief Olympia Officer?
Oh, Chief Olympia Officer. That's right. Dan has been around the bodybuilding industry and was the voice of bodybuilding with Dan and Pro Bodybuilding Weekly, my favorite show that I listen to every week and look forward to back in the day. So without any further ado, Dan Solomon. Dan, welcome to the show.
Aaron, what's up? What's going on, guys? How's everybody?
Not much, man. Lots going on for you. This is a pretty busy time, right?
It is, but I just got a glimpse online of the Redcon 1 annual Christmas holiday photo. And I got to tell you, there's nothing that screams growth the more than that annual photo you guys published. So congrats on another big year.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, thank you. It's been considering it being such a challenging year, it's been nice to have growth in a year that a lot of people are just hanging on. That's for sure.
For sure. I don't. The only thing that I think grows faster than your staff roster is the hair on Eric's face. But
well, it's proportionate. I let it grow to the size of the business.
There you go.
When the shit's down on my belly button, you'll know how good we're doing.
Get off on your yacht somewhere then.
So Dan, I'm not going to keep you long because I know Dan is right. If you don't already know, Dan is literally we're hours away from the biggest show in bodybuilding history, the Mr. Olympia, the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, and Dan's going to have a lot of shit going on and quite a bit of pressure to perform in a very unusual year. Who would have ever thought, Dan, that we'd be doing the Olympia from Orlando, Florida? I mean,
it's funny. You just kind of don't know. You wake up every day and you never know how it's going to end. And when we started this year, and we had all sorts of expectations for the Olympia, and I think we've all learned together as a group that it's dangerous territory when you start thinking you have a handle on the way things are going to go, because the script can change really quick. And we've just, like everybody else, we've tried to adapt and roll with the changes. And here at the Olympia, about 4 weeks ago, we identified a situation where the venue that we were planning to use out in Las Vegas wasn't going to be able to allow us to have any kind of crowd or audience to speak of. And the more we thought about it, we thought about this incredible lineup that we have, the return of Phil Heath and Brandon Curry trying to win another one, and Hadi Chupan coming in to try to make a run at it, and Dexter's final Olympia, and the list goes on and on, Big Ramy and so forth. We just kept thinking to ourselves, what a shame it would be for all of that to go down in an empty theater. So we worked real hard to try to exhaust every possible way to see to it that fans could experience the Olympia, that athletes could stand in front of a highly energized crowd. And we found that home here in Orlando at the Orange County Convention Center, which is where I'm at right now, which is attached to the Hyatt Regency Orlando. And it's a good spot. It's a very convenient, logistically sound venue with beautiful theaters and ballrooms and all sorts of great stuff. And our team is on the ground, and we are ready to go.
That's awesome, man. Well, we're really excited about the event. We can't wait to get down there, and excited to actually have a booth. We didn't know we didn't have plans of having a booth.
No, not at all.
In Vegas this year, but when you brought it to Orlando, it gave us an opportunity to be part of the event. We're always going to stop at the event, of course, but now we're going to have a big booth, and it should be a lot of fun to be there. But Dan, we're talking about the Olympia memories. When you think back to Olympia, you've been to Olympia in a lot of different capacities, obviously from a fan, even as an agent, right? Basically starting off with Darren Charles to now running the whole shebang. So what's your favorite memory? Which jumps out at you? It doesn't even have to be, it could be, Bob gave us a bad memory too. It could be something bad, but what pops out in your head?
Man, there's been so many great ones. The Olympia seems to be the place where all the memories are born and they kind of stay with us. So it's a good question. I hadn't really thought much about it, but of course, one of the ones that I think those of us who came up sort of in our era over the last 15, 20 years, well, a lot of people will talk about 06 CUTLER. That was a special night. But I think for me personally, I think like so many things in life, that special enduring image is the first one. And for me, I can't help but go back to 1998, New York City, Madison Square Garden, the last time that Olympia was held somewhere other than Las Vegas, until this year, of course. And that was the night Dorian Yates announced his retirement. Flex Wheeler came in as the clear-cut favorite. He was the heir apparent, was supposed to just walk in there and pick up the Sandow Trophy. And then a guy who had finished 9th place the year before, named Ronnie Coleman from Texas, a police officer, came in and shocked the world. And that was a moment that really stands out to me, not just because Ronnie won that show and started what turned out to be, one of the most iconic bodybuilding careers of all time, but it was special to me because it introduced me to the real sensory overload of being at a world-class professional bodybuilding event. It was I'll never forget leaving the theater that night. I was addicted. I was hooked on the sights, the sounds, the energy, the passion, the rivalries, and from Mike Matarazzo walking out there with his tongue sticking out to Chris Cormier doing what Chris does, and of course that was back when Kevin and Sean were in the show, and just that battle between those final moments when Nasser El Somebody and Ronnie Coleman and of course Flex Wheeler were right there as the top three, and just watching the whole thing play out with Joe Weider himself in the building. That was a night that I won't soon forget, because I always say that's the night that sort of propelled me into a career in this industry.
Yeah, that's a cool memory. That's definitely a very cool memory. And obviously, as a fan that wasn't there, we just talked about this before. Everybody, and I mean everybody, thought Flex was going to win. Was anybody, since you were there, Dan, was there anybody there talking about Ronnie, or anybody saying like, "Hey, about this Ronnie guy, can come in and win"?
Well, as somebody reminded me the other day, because we were talking about this earlier in the year, Ronnie was already winning. So he didn't just come out of nowhere to win that show. Now, it's true that he finished 9th a year before, but he had done very well at the contest leading up to it. So he was already kind of on the radar and viewed as somebody who could win it. But I think if you were following the sport really closely, and at that time I don't think I was more of a casual fan, but if you were following things closely, you probably could see it coming or certainly see it as a possibility. But I remember when I walked into that building, I don't remember hearing any buzz that Ronnie Coleman was a contender. But he had gotten with Chad Nichols not long before that, and they just really pulled off this incredible transformation. And that was the start of Ronnie Coleman, and it was quite a night. But I don't remember anybody talking before the show that Ronnie Coleman was going to win the show. No.
Yeah. So Dan, before we let you go, what are you most looking forward to for this Olympia? Like, what's the thing that you're most? I know not as a promoter, but you personally.
Yeah, for me, it's funny. For somebody who just like you guys, we've all been going through this year, and we've all dealt with so much. And I'm already starting to feel it because the fans are starting to come in. We're starting to see folks check into the hotel, and there's a real sense of family this week. There really is. Everybody's gone through a lot with their businesses, with their companies, their personal lives, jobs lost. In certain cases, lives have been lost this year, and it's touched us all in many ways. And to see everybody just kind of here and sort of this celebration of resilience and all this positive energy that's in the building. That's the thing that I think we're all really excited about. Even the athletes that I'm talking to. Yeah, of course, they're here to win, but they're all here because this is what they love to do, and they haven't been able to do it for a long time. So for me, the part that I'm really excited about is just seeing everybody come back together. I will tell you this. We have made significant investments in our stage production. When you get to this show, yeah, it'll look different because we're not in an arena this year. Some of the elements will be, limited. But I think you guys will be really impressed by the caliber of the stage production and just by the overall event that our team, Tamer and Angelica and Martine and Katie and the rest of our crew have worked very hard to create something very unique and very different. And then when you pair that with the fact that we have this holiday backdrop, it's a really unique experience. So I think all told, this is just going to be an Olympia that for those who are able to attend, won't ever forget it.
Yeah. Well, Dan, we appreciate you coming on the show, and we're really looking forward to the Olympia. Do you think, what are the chances that it sticks around and we're in Orlando again next year?
There's no way to know at this point. We want to test drive this location. We want to see how it plays for us. We are still very fond of our Las Vegas home. We have a lot of great plans for Las Vegas if we're able to kind of go in that direction. So we just kind of made a decision as a group, Jake and the team. We just decided, let's go ahead and let's put this event on, and let's see how it works. And if it goes well, I guess certainly anything's a possibility. But right now, our whole team is just on the ground, and they are subscribing to a philosophy that a good friend of mine told me, and that is always stay in the highest state of and we're ready to rock, guys. So I can't wait till you guys get here. It's going to be great to see you.
Yeah, you too, Dan. We're looking forward to it. See you in a matter of hours. Thank you for being on the show, Dan.
I tell you to drive safe, Aaron, but I know you're hopping on your jet. So
I can't say anything about that. All right, Dan. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
See you then.
So next on our list of celebrities here, Olympia legends, we have MILOS SARCEV, who will be on in just one quick second. So we're going to wait till he pulls on. We're not going to keep you guys waiting. We'll be right back in just a second with MILOS.
What's up, Redcon One family? It's your boy, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. And boy, let me tell you about the deal we've got for you. This weekend and this weekend only, spend $50 and get a free limited edition Redcon One Militia t-shirt. With a purchase of $85, guess what? You'll be able to take advantage of getting our rapid fat burning stack. I'm talking about double tap powder. We're talking about our CLA, our Yohimbe, and L-carnitine rapid fat burning stack, brought to you only by Redcon One. If you spend over $130 this weekend, guess what? We will throw in free shipping. But wait, we're not done yet. Use code RED35 and take advantage of an additional 35% off only by Redcon One this weekend. Tell them your boy sent you.
All right, so we're very excited to have Vaughn back. This is week
Again.
Yeah, back to back. The Mind, Milo, for the $100,000 prize.
Well, if we have him on next week's show, he'd be the first three-peat guest. Like,
that's never happened. Yes. So Milos, welcome back to the show again. Pleasure to have you back.
Good to see you guys again. And please now, as you mentioned, have you next week, so I'm gonna be on the three-peat. Yeah.
World record.
World record for Readiness report.
Yeah, there you go. I really enjoyed it. I mean, first I didn't know also that Eric, you are so analytical about bodybuilding. You know, when you mentioned Charles Climate physiques, I was like, oh, you nailed it. He's for me most underrated IBB pro of all time. Just perfect, the symmetry, perfect proportion, everything about him. And you mentioned his name, like, wow, Eric is on my level and appreciating what I do.
I don't know about
and
that.
I know, Aaron, you are. I know, I know that you're a really great expert. When we talk about it, you usually agree on many things, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, Charles was. And especially in the time that he was. I mean, it wasn't where like that really grainy physique was. You saw it much. So he had beautiful shape, amazing symmetry, and then he had that graininess that was really similar to Dorian's. So I'm with you. I think he's probably one of the, if not the most underrated bodybuilders of all time.
Yes, even though he did manage to beat Kevin LeVrone and Flex Wheeler, you know, in 1993. So when you manage to beat two of the greats, I mean, okay, I guess you're not overlooked. But I just think that he could have been a major superstar if he was judged correctly throughout the years.
Yes, agreed. So with that in mind, Milos, the show we had on, right before you, we had Dan Solomon, the new COO or the Chief Olympia Officer, and before that, Bob CICHERILLO, the voice of pro bodybuilding in the Olympia MC. So Milos, you come from a very different perspective of competing many times at the Olympia and then helping athletes get ready for the Olympia. So when you think back about your favorite Olympia moment, or it could just honestly could be the most striking Olympia moment, it could be the saddest moment, just whatever comes to your mind is the biggest moment for you and in the Olympia. What is it?
I have so many, but as you say, I have to point out one, and I'm going to tell you. My first Olympia was in Orlando, right here. This is first time in 30 years I came back. You know, so I qualified for Mr. Olympia in 1991 by being third in the San Jose Pro Invitational behind Ron Love and Sonny Schmidt. You know, so it was obviously a shocker. I didn't expect it. But now in the first year as a pro, I qualified for Olympia, and I came to Orlando, not having much of expectations. I just want to be one of the guys and compete with all the great champions. And I know that this was going to be a last Mr. Olympia for Lee Haney. He was the 7 times Mr. Olympia. If he wins for the 8th time, he would retire because that was a record. And he was at the age of 31, which I like to bring it up because just imagine if he competed like Dexter till the age of 50, how many titles he would have. But one thing that sticks so much in my mind was the demeanor of a great champion. I was going to the athletes meeting room. It was in a hotel, and I was among the first one, but Lee Haney was already in. So when I walked in, he stood up, went straight to me, looked at me in the eyes, shake my hands, and said, "Oh, you're that new guy from Yugoslavia, Milo, what's your name?" And then, I mean, of course, I was in awe. I was shocked. He kept talking, wishing me good luck, and so I was speechless. I walked away, and then I watched him do this with every single guy, everyone. Andreas Munzer, Sonny Schmidt, Ron Love, Francis Befado, Thierry Postel. I mean, it was wonderful. Albert Beckus was competing. Samer Benoot was competing. He would really take so much time. He knew personal details about everyone. For Sonny Schmidt, he asked him, "Oh, are you from Western Samoa or American Samoa?" I mean, you know, things like this you don't expect from a guy that is competing with all the other ones. You know, you're so focused on your show. If you remember 1990, a lot of people like Khalila Brother, Sean Ray, questioned his victory, and they believed that they could have won 1990. So at the press conference, Sean Ray was very, very confident. He was talking about how he wants to take his house and his car and his wife and everything, you know.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that was very arrogant from his side, but you know, Lee was just smiling. Okay, and then here comes a new wonder from England, Dorian Yates, who was, you know, man of few words, but he was just confident in his ability to dethrone Lee, especially seeing him in 1990 that maybe was not his best version. Lee Labrada talked very openly that this time Right Lee is going to win, and all these things. At the press conference, Lee was just very cordial to everyone. And then we went backstage next day, you know, for the show. And you should see that. This is the moment I memorized the most. Everybody was, you know, pumping up, oiled up already. And you glance at Lee Haney. He was talking to a bunch of people. I think he signed a contract with Muscular Development, and he was talking to those guys. And even there was a rumor, because he's not with a leader, you know, there's no way he can win the show. So it came to like a 15-minute mark, and they call it 15 minutes, right? Which you're supposed to line up already. And Sean and Lee and Dorian, everybody was like all pumped up. Here comes Lee Haney, okay, walked to the first mirror, slowly took the jacket off, okay, didn't even put the oil, didn't pump up whatsoever. And that was a shocker. The temperature, I said temperature, you know, went down to 10 degrees. I mean, I've seen Dorian's face frozen. Lee Labrada just sit down on a first bench. Sean just lost every shine that he had. I mean, I swear to God, this was the moment he honestly won that show. I've never seen greater moment of dominance. I mean, everybody just bowed to him. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, this is when you say about all the moments. I mean, I have a million of them. But being in Orlando right now and remembering that moment, and a lot of people were not around, so they probably wouldn't know how great Lee Haney was. First, as a person, class act all the way, gentleman like you can hardly run into. But then as a bodybuilder, he was really on another level. People are saying about, okay, Schwarzenegger back in the day, he was dominant, but then we scrutinize him now that he didn't have as good legs maybe, or back, you know, lat spread pose. He was good enough at that time to win, so he maybe didn't have a reason to improve because he was dominant. So here comes Lee Haney, who was truly dominant, okay? And then in 1990, maybe he had a little slip and warning. And then knowing that 91, here comes a great wonder from England, Dorian, to challenge him. So he upped the game. And I'm 100% sure that if Lee continued, he would have to up the game and maybe improve even more. And then we would see the physique. They would probably be unbeaten for you know, decades.
So why do you, first off, that was a great memory, really cool. And I have had the pleasure of talking to Lee quite a bit and met him many times. And he is truly a unique person. Like, forget bodybuilding. Like, we're just talking about being a man. Like, he's somebody to look up to and to say, like, hey, hopefully I grow up and be like Lee, because Lee Haney is that unique of just as a person. You know, you pick it up quick too. You can tell in minutes of meeting him, like, there's something different about him.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you this. Ever since then, anytime I was at Arnold Classic Olympia, it doesn't matter where I was, he would make a point to come, shake hands, ask about my family and everything. And there was the one time that I was shocked. I was signing my pictures with Arnold Classic, and then, you know, like in the corner of the eye, I see Lee Haney is in my line about the 10th guy over there. And I was like, oh my God, right? What do you do? And I wanted to bring him. No, he didn't want to take over this 10 guys. He waited for his turn to just come to say hello. I mean, who does that? You know? So this is why I love Lee so much. I mean, he's the greatest representative of the sport. And I hope he's going to be here because this is his ground. This is where he won his last title.
Yeah. I hope he's there too. So he retired, obviously, at 31. You brought it up. What do you think? Because a lot of the people would say, or did say at the time, it was because he was afraid. He thought that he couldn't beat Dorian the following year, that his time was up. Why do you think he retired at 31?
Okay, because his wife, family, really took the reason and said, you already broke the record, so what is 9 going to do, or 10? Of course, nobody expected that here's going to come Ronnie Coleman and equal his record years later. But, you know, as you listen to his interviews, he was always one by one, okay? And then he had motivation to break this record. But after breaking the record, I promise you that Lee Haney didn't feel threatened by great Dorian. And in 1992, if you remember, in Helsinki, Finland, Dorian was far from being dominant. He did win, but he didn't look anything spectacular. I would say that Kevin LeVrone placing second and Lee Labrada and Sean Ray, you know, were in a running. Okay, they gave it to Dorian over. I would have given to Kevin LeVrone if you ask me. But 1993, what happened probably changed the sport forever. And I wouldn't say change it for good, it changed it for bad. And why I'm saying this, because 92, there was emergence of great Kevin LeVrone. 93, here comes Sultan of Symmetry, Flex Wheeler. And Flex, if you remember, won 4 consecutive shows, Ironman, and then went to the Arnold Classic. 93 version of Flex Wheeler is probably the greatest bodybuilder that ever stepped on stage with that conditioning, that symmetry, then you know, that just appearance. So going into the show, Flex was the favorite to win. You know, I don't know if you guys remember back then, but I was one of the guys. You know, so Flex and Kevin, of course, but Flex was going, you know, for a win. And then about 6 weeks before the contest, Flex magazine published the pictures of Dorian Yates. As you see, nowadays, probably everybody would think this was photoshopped because there was amazing transformation that he had from 92 to 93. And I would say that Paul Dillett, many other guys that were like maybe gunning for that title, after seeing that pictures, they already lost. So going into the show already, we knew that Dorian is coming with something new, never before seen. And he won. He won over second place Flex Wheeler and third Sean Ray. But now, if you would ask me if I would review, you know, and rewind back in those times, and I would question the judges, what judges want now, because they went for a size, they didn't know what to do with Dorian, and they just said, okay, he has too much mass, too much of conditioning, he's wider, he's bigger, so they gave it to him. So they neglected the aesthetics and proportions and symmetry and all the other aspects, because I think if I would question a million people that they put the pictures of Flex Wheeler and Kevin LeVrone and Dorian, that many would go for that bodybuilding look, aesthetics, not necessarily for this monster look and just raw power and size and conditioning. So I'm not saying that Dorian was undeserving winner, by no means, because he was bigger, he was probably a little bit better conditioned, and judges went for it. But that brought up, now size matters the most, and then everybody else was going for the size, and then physiques went sideways, you know. So now, you know, to get bigger chest and bigger back and bigger shoulders, you get the bigger waist also. And do we want that? So then when they realized, okay, let's reverse it, let's go back down to Phil Heath look, which was very close to Flex Wheeler's look. So on that note, if they, I think, awarded Flex Wheeler second place finisher in 93, that Olympia title and Sando Trophy, maybe we would have a different bodybuilding.
Yeah, definitely. It could have changed the course of bodybuilding history. And I guess in a way, we'll see come a few days from now, in a matter of hours from now, how the judges want to see the future of bodybuilding go. And if we're going to see the Phil Heath that got dethroned by Sean, or if we're going to see back in the day, and he reverses some of the issues and comes in the kind of condition and tight that he was, reminiscent of Flex Wheeler. Milos, thank you so much for coming on the show. We actually have Kevin LeVrone on next to give his opinion or his best moment, and it'll be interesting to hear if his best moment is actually a worse moment, losing that show that he should have won. You know, he had a lot of close.
Yeah, I think that you would agree and say this to Kevin. He's for sure, for many of us, uncrowd Mr. Olympia.
Yes, no question.
100%.
No question. He is my definitely, if back in the day, if I think my favorite bodybuilder, it's without question is Kevin LEVRONE. And there's plenty of times where I would have loved to, almost every time I would have loved to seen him win back against Dorian. So
there you go. Thank you very much, because that was the point I was trying to make.
yes.
Okay, a lot of us saw it that way.
Yes, yes. So Milos, see you in a few hours, and I'm excited to see your athlete and our athlete, Max Charles, on stage. You tell me he's going to be crazy, so I can't wait to see it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, guys, I know that you have to go to Kevin, so it was nice talking to you, and keep in mind for a three-peat for next week.
All right, sounds good, Milos. Sounds good.
All right.
What's up, Redcon One family? It's your boy, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. And boy, let me tell you about the deal we've got for you. This weekend and this weekend only, spend $50 and get a free limited edition Redcon One Militia t-shirt. With a purchase of $85, guess what? You'll be able to take advantage of getting our rapid fat burning stack. I'm talking about double tap powder. We're talking about our CLA, our Yohimbe, and L-carnitine rapid fat burning stack, brought to you only by Redcon One. If you spend over $130 this weekend, guess what? We will throw in free shipping. But wait, we're not done yet. Use code RED35 and take advantage of an additional 35% off only by Redcon One this weekend. Tell them your boy sent you.
All right, Eric. So next on is a very special guest, because he's I believe, the only Olympia winner that we're talking to.
Yeah.
The king of bodybuilding, I like to say. He likes to say too, probably. My good friend, Jay Cutler. Jay, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Hey guys, what's happening?
Hey, Jay. Thank you for coming on. I have to say, Jay, that every single person that has been on, we had both Dan Solomon and Bob Chick mentioned you. And actually Dan was saying, right, when was his favorite moment, or was it Bob? Who's saying? What was the
Bob was saying when Jay beat Ronnie finally, how it literally was the most energy he's ever experienced in an Olympia.
He said it was like a percussive blast when they announced you winning, and he said the screaming was so loud that he physically felt it on stage.
Yeah, it was kind of, I can kind of recall the moment, and it was a lot of white flash because everyone in the audience kind of jumped up in the air, and it was just so much emotion, but at the same time I was trying to hold myself on stage and be just right, you know what I mean? So for me it was an awkward moment in a sense, because I was kind of beating my idol, but then the energy of everyone, and then Gustavo Bedell jumped on top of me, so it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I remember that. And then from Dan was saying what was he in?
He talked about when Ronnie won, how everyone, all the expectation was about Flex winning.
Oh yeah.
And then here you had Ronnie.
Yes. So very interesting, Jay. The idea is, what is the most memorable moment, right? And one of Bob's most memorable moments was actually a bad one when he was on stage and they took the papers. Pecker accidentally took all of his papers off, like his preparation papers. On the podium, right? He grabbed the paper on accident and grabbed all of Bob's papers. So when Bob got up there to do the live show, that was the year that it was going to be on CBS and everything, or MSNBC. So Bob got up and there's no papers there. So that was his one of his most memorable moments.
Yeah, listen, we went in the first one. People talk about that. If you had Ronnie or Phil or these, even Lee Haney or, the former champions, Dorian Yates, they'd say the winning the first one is probably the most memorable one. But for me, I think that the 09 comeback and defeating Dexter and the rest of the crew after losing it was probably the most memorable for me.
That's funny, because that was my most memorable moment, Olympia moment, was you winning in 2009.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, especially with all the doubt, and it's never been done, right? So we know history kind of sets itself on Olympia standards, and for me to achieve that success after all the doubters thought I would never reconcile with the title again, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I remember talking to you right around that point in time, and that it was that you were kind of fueled off of the people saying like, "Hey, he's not gonna. There's no way he's gonna win again." I know it pissed you off, but like that, like it was like a fueling kind of pissed you off, right?
Yeah, I was pretty driven anyway, and I really thought, truthfully, I could come back to win it. So for me, it was just really, it was kind of just putting all effort forward like I always did. But at the same time, I was able to, believe that I could actually come back and do it.
So on the flip side, Jay, I have to ask, what was the least favorite? Since I mentioned the bad memory for Bob, is there one that sticks out where you're like, where it was really like a bad Olympia memory?
Yeah, losing to Dexter in 08.
Yeah, oh yeah. It was harder losing to Dexter in 08 than any Ronnie loss.
Yeah, I would say because, for me, I felt like I was superior to Dexter. And, I never, at certain points, I thought with Ronnie, I realized what it was. So for me, to have a guy that I had beat over and over in my career to beat me for the biggest title in the world, it was pretty upsetting to me. And I knew I was like, man, I'm going to come back next year and kill this show.
What do you think about the Olympia going to leaving Vegas for the first time, your home, to head back to Orlando since 1991? Milos came and talked about he was there in 1991 at his first Olympia, and it was Lee Haney's last Olympia. It hasn't been there since.
Yeah, I mean, they had it at Disney World, I think, in 91. That's actually the first Olympia that I actually paid attention to, because I started training in 91, and then, Haney was exiting, and then the Dorian reign started. So remember, I was Dexter and I both competed in our first Olympia in 99, which was the first year it was in Las Vegas. If you remember, Ronnie won at Madison Square Garden in 98. And then, of course, it's been here ever since. And for the thing to last minute move to Orlando, I think it was a crazy move. I'm not so sure if I was leading that contest, I would have actually moved it. I would have considered, let's postpone it or even canceling it. So a lot of power to the crew over there for kind of managing last minute. But I'm just, I'm hoping for the best show. It's really great that the athletes that trained all year can actually train and compete at this contest, and it's going to happen.
So Jay, one of the other things that kept coming up today was a few uncrowned Mr. Olympias. There's a few people that we feel might have been deserving of it. Do you have someone throughout history that you think is maybe an uncrowned Mr. Olympia?
How do I start the list? I mean, listen, Gaspari was third. He was 3 times second. People, he was, I don't know if he necessarily, I wasn't following as close, like I said back then, but listen, we could start with Flex Wheeler. We could say Kevin LeVrone. We could say Nasser El-Somebody. Who else was up there? Sean Ray. I mean, all these guys really could have had a shot at winning this thing. So, you're looking up behind me, you see that, it's on the other side here. That green sign, it says Olympia Drive. Sean Ray actually gave that to me because he thought his destiny was to have that Olympia title. And when I won the Mr. Olympia, if you guys recall, I said, this is for all you guys that really couldn't follow through and win the title. I finally broke the mold,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, really cool, Jay.
He had to give up his road sign.
Yeah, that was part of the price. You make it, give me a road sign.
He brought, I thought it was kind of a nice gesture. He brought it to me, and listen, I know Sean has mixed feelings in this business from a lot of people, including yourself. But he brought that to me.
I feel like mixed at all, Jay. They're not mixed.
They're very clear.
So he kind of retired it over to me, and I framed it and hung it on my wall, and it sits behind. And then, as you know, you've seen my office. It's pretty crazy. So.
No, I've never I've seen your office. I've never been over to.
Oh, you were supposed to show up to check it out. Maybe this would have been the year. Next year, I guess.
It sucks. If Dan would have moved the damn thing, I'd be there right now.
Jay's just going to keep on that one in front of you.
You know who would really like to come to your office is Eduardo. That's who you'd make his life. Eduardo gets to come check out.
But he'd be under your desk.
He sent me an image, and I said, I got to come sign that bad boy. He sent me something shortly.
Yeah, we got. I think the guy who did that picture behind you, Charles Lothian, I believe, sent us some images. I think.
Mine's right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So Jay, thank you very much for. I literally popped this on Jay moments before. I'm like, hey, can you do it? And he's like, okay.
Let me throw on a hoodie.
yeah, exactly. So
Jay,
Jay,
I threw on the red hoodie just for you guys. And listen, I appreciate. I was able to sample the new MRE drinks, which are amazing, by the way. Before they were actually had the labeling on them. So
we'll send you new ones now.
Yeah, he was.
Congrats, man! I'm super excited for you guys, and for anyone that hasn't tried those bad boys, make sure you check them out, man. They were good.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Yeah, Jay was one of the very, very few to get the test pilot sample, the final samples, but he tried them without any of the cool labeling and everything. But thank you so much, Jay. Thank you for everything, for coming on last minute, and for being a good guy. So we will see you in hours, a matter of hours.
I'll see you out there, guys.
See you out there. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, guys.
Always fun having Jay on.
Always
Even just for
fun
a short bit of time.
Always, yeah. Well, we were packed. I'd love to have Jay for a whole another episode. We had him in the very beginning of the show on episode number like 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was early on.
Very early. It's probably time to get him back. I like, I love to hear from Jay different stuff. So because if you've followed Jay, you've seen him do hundreds of interviews. People always ask the same stuff. That's why I felt like our interview with him was great. Whatever it was, episode 3, we were talking about business and stuff outside of,
which is stuff he's really interested in.
Yeah, stuff he's really interested in, and that's really so. Like me and Jay have been friends for, since 2008 or 7 or whatever, and we really, when we talk on the phone, which is probably these days because we're both so busy, maybe only once every other month, but we'll talk for a few hours, and I don't think we ever really talk about bodybuilding. It's always other stuff. There's stuff surrounding bodybuilding, but we're not talking about who's the next up and comer or like, what show he wish he would have won. None of that shit ever comes up, or how many sets he's doing for chest. It's always other stuff unrelated usually.
Yeah, now we just keep trying to get smaller.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing with Jay. All Jay needs to do is eat a little extra, train a day or 2 more, and he's back up to like 250.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
He, I always, when Jay. So I was already very close to Jay when he tried to come back his last time. And I have a picture of Jay, Mel, and Chad Nichols out at dinner somewhere. And at the time, I could probably find this for you, Johnny, because it's a cool picture. He was doing like this, like five-time Mr. Olympia. He had just started training again and started like taking it seriously, kind of gearing up for the next Olympia. And he was like already 285. Obviously, we know that he didn't do as great in that Olympia on his final comeback, due to injuries and due to getting older, but like in terms of having size and being lean, it's crazy to think like this dude basically was like 235, like kind of what he is now, and he was like 285 in like weeks.
Just like I'm gonna start training again.
Yeah, I'm sure he could. Honestly, I'm sure he could probably do it now. I'm sure he could probably be 285 very, very lean in 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh no, that's what he's always saying, is that he's got to be careful how much he trains and eats right now because his weight just keeps coming back on.
Yeah, he's an eater. Like Kai, Kai is here, and so we get to see Kai eat. And I think that's a video, Johnny, that we need to put on the list. A day of Kai eating, like a casual day of eating, not like Kai like trying to be Brian Shaw and eat
No, but just
like, just normal eating. That's the one thing that really differentiates Kai and Jay from everybody else. Jay would just be able to put down food. He'd be able to eat, 12, 14 ounces of fish or chicken and 2 cups of rice and a bunch of broccoli 8 times a day, or it's like nothing.
It doesn't even phase them. Yeah.
No, Kai can surpass that. Kai will eat 2 of my big meals, the Touch of Class meals, which is 80 grams of carbs and 50 grams of protein of chicken, which is probably more because they're big portions. And he'll eat 2 of them in one sitting and then eat 2 more in 2 hours.
Yeah,
and
that's
2
what
more
we did yesterday in the break room.
It's like, what the hell? He just gobbles them right down.
Yeah.
But we have, I believe we're going to have Flex. I'm not sure who's next after this one. So far, we've had on Dan. We had first Bob, Dan Solomon, Kevin LeVrone, Jay Cutler, and then Flex and Milos. I'm sorry, Milos. So I think we're having Flex next. So we're waiting to see if Flex is going to be on the line. If not, we will be right back either way.
All right.
What's up, Redcon One family? It's your boy, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. And boy, let me tell you about the deal we've got for you. This weekend and this weekend only, spend $50 and get a free limited edition Redcon One Militia t-shirt. With a purchase of $85, guess what? You'll be able to take advantage of getting our rapid fat burning stack. I'm talking about double tap powder. We're talking about our CLA, our Yohimbe, and L-carnitine rapid fat burning stack, brought to you only by Redcon One. If you spend over $130 this weekend, guess what? We will throw in free shipping. But wait, we're not done yet. Use code RED35 and take advantage of an additional 35% off, only by Redcon One this weekend. Tell them your boy sent you.
All right, so next on is both you and mine, our favorite bodybuilder, 90s bodybuilder, and honestly bodybuilder to this day. I've told him this many times in the past. So happy to have on for the very first time, actually, on the Readiness Report, Maryland Muscle Machine, Kevin LEVRONE. Kevin, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. It's an honor to be here. So when you asked me to do it, I was definitely on board. Thank you, Aaron.
Of course, Kevin. Of course. It's an honor to have you. So, Kevin, what we asked everybody so far, Dan Solomon, Bob CICHERILLO, MILOS, SARCEV, who else we have so far? Jay CUTLER, of course, Flex Wheeler next. And we want to ask you, what's your favorite Olympia moment? It could be, honestly, I keep saying this. It could be a positive or negative moment. It could be what strikes you the most, what comes to your head when you think of the Olympia.
Well, you mean when I'm on stage competing, or when
anything? Anything.
I would have to say my first Olympia in 1992, because we were in Helsinki, Finland, and it was in an ice skating rink, and Lee Haney had just retired the previous year before, and it was wide open, and that was one of the most memorable moments because two things came into play there, Aaron. You had the comeback of Lou Ferrigno, and also it wasn't a reigning Mr. Olympia at the time. So that was a wide open show. And for me, that was my first time appearing on stage competing with so many great athletes like, Lee Labrada, Sean Ray for the first time, Momo Benaziza, and I could just sit back and think, there's Terry Postel, you had Lou Ferrigno, and it just all those great athletes that had competed before me, and it was just I just couldn't believe that I had actually made it to the Mr. Olympia, and to be in the middle of all those guys and to hold my own and to come out in second place. That was something that set the stage for my whole entire career. So that was one of the memorable moments of my career. Yeah.
And, we just had Milos on just recently, and Milos actually brought that show up and said that he believed that you should have won that show. And then a lot of people would agree with him that show, Dorian was not as dominant as he was a little later on.
Dorian wasn't as dominant. Of course he growed in. I was about 227 pounds, 228 at that show. And I think Dorian at that time was in his maybe about 234. As I sit back and I do look at the photos and I look at the footage of that, I do believe that he had me beat. He had me beat in the back area. I believe that I was a little flat on my upper body. And, I've heard people say, well, you should have had it. But it was just, I don't think I was seasoned enough to do what I need to do. I was a little flat at that show. But had it came in carved up a little more. But, of course, it's my first Miss Olympia. It's the first time I took a flight halfway across the world, and I didn't know what to expect.
So, Kevin, we have to ask, what was your least favorite Olympia moment? Is there one that you think of where you're like, man, that really sucked?
Well, no. Well, not really. But let me go back to that first question to add something to that. Again, in 1998, this was a memorable moment. One of the, I'll never forget it because it was Ronnie Coleman's first time of winning. And I think the year before, Ronnie had placed like top 10, and he just, he was out of the top 10, I believe. And he came out of nowhere and he actually won the Mr. Olympia. And Flex Wheeler got second. And, it was me, Sean Ray, and Flex. We thought, wow, this is an open field, because Dorian Yates had retired. So that was a really memorable moment because Ronnie had just put on so much size from the European tours within 12 months, and he just came out of the darkness, out of nowhere. And I remember Flex getting second, and we all were just so shocked, But that was a memorable moment too. So moving forward, where you said, was there Olympia where I just hung my head down? No, not at all. Because to be on the stage like that, Aaron, and to just be around, those great athletes, Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, your Jay Cutlers, Dexter Jackson, we had our runs too. It was just Chris Cormier, just Paul Dillette. The lineup was very, very deep, man. And it's just always an exciting moment. I remember, what's his name? Peter McGough backstage, and it was just and then Joe Weider backstage, and Joe was right there backstage before the shows, the photo shoots before the shows, the photo shoots backstage immediately when the show was over. So it was just so much going on. Robert Reef, all the major magazines there, Ironman Magazine, Muscular Development, Flex Magazine, Muscle and Fitness. And it was just incredible, and you had your special guests that always showed up at the show, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then, one year we had Sylvester Stallone and Tom Hanks, not Tom Hanks, but I think it might have been Tom Hanks. I'm not sure, but it was just a lot going on and so much excitement. So every one of the Mr. Olympias was something that I'm very humbled and honored to be a part of and to accept my places, whether it was second or wherever else I placed.
So one thing I always tell people is, I don't know, sometimes there's more benefit in being the people's champ. Obviously, anybody who's competitive wants to win, they want the title, but I don't know, for like you and I always look at you, Kevin, as like the people's champ. Like I used to be part of your fan club, the full blown fan club. Yeah, I mean, I remember meeting you at the Arnold in, I think it was 95. That was the first time, might have been 95, 96, first time I ever met you. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's always you're probably the best uncrowned Mr. Olympia that there is. So, I mean, for you, I mean, do you find that as a positive or a negative in your career, being the people's champ?
Actually, I find that as a positive. One thing you said, it's not, I've learned so much from every placement I've got, whether I've won 23 pro shows, but, out of every place, and you always learn something and you leave with some knowledge that you didn't gain before. I'm certainly happy with the way my career went. And if I could, people would say, well, if there's something you could change, what would you change? I really absolutely don't think there would be anything that I would change, because if I had won the Mr. Olympia, I probably would have retired. I don't think I would have continued to go on to compete. That was the only reason why I was competing, because I wanted to have that title. And I'm the type of person where when I accomplish something, I just move on to the next chapter of my life. So I'm honored and I'm grateful that, people, they call me the people's champion, and I appreciate the words you said, man. Thank you very much.
Oh, Kevin, I appreciate your time. Anybody who doesn't know, Kevin has a very successful supplement line, the Signature Series, the LEVRONE Signature Series, which I know, Kevin, you're working on bringing here to the States in a more meaningful, bigger way, but is all over. Kevin is constantly traveling the world. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's in a lot of places that Redcon one isn't, and you guys have got super strong all over very quickly internationally, and have recently, right? I know you're deciding how to make the big move into America.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, I've actually called you up, because you have your feet on the ground and what you've done with your vision with Redcon One, and just giving back to the community. Yeah, I mean, I started overseas because out of the 68 shows that I competed in, 90% of those shows were, they were overseas. So for me, it was the best business decision, because the American market, again, it's very, very so competitive here, and I didn't have awareness on the ground here as far as the brand, but I did have, I had that built-in fan base overseas. So, everything, as you know, and everyone else out there knows, greater sacrifice, greater the reward. You have to work. And it has to be also from the heart, from the passion, and the message behind why you're doing it. I always wanted to be in a position to give back to the fans, not only as a bodybuilder, but as an educator to help them accomplish their goals as well. I'm glad that the world embraced LEVRONE Signature Series, and it allows me to go out each and every year to visit my accounts, see the fans in all the countries and everywhere where we are. Moving forward, yeah, we're looking forward to coming into the United States. Again, you know, we've laid out the groundwork, we've done all the homework, we've done the research and where we need to start and everything. And we just want to make sure that there's awareness, not to just start something, because you just can't put your name on a product just because you think you're a famous athlete. That's not going to work. You have to have a meaning and a purpose and a message behind it. And I think being in business now with the 6-year vision that we had, coming into the States where my fans are, you know, I think now's the time to make that move into a market space that's waiting on us to come in.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, the one thing for sure is you've seen, or we've seen, and I've seen that Kevin LEVRONE has only gotten more popular. It's obviously you retired a while ago. Now you came back for a little bit, but your popularity increased. It never really waned. It's always kind of been up and to the right the entire time, based on social media, which is a really cool, amazing thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, people ask me all the time, you know, what do you think about the sport? And I say, well, look how the sport has evolved. You know, such a great opportunity, and I never, you know, I always remember that, you know, it's not about where you place, it's what you do with your placement. You know, we try to use this as a stepping stone, but ultimately it's a business. You know, Aaron, I've watched you grow, and I watch you parallel to, you know, doing articles and working for other people. Now look at you, man. You've done some amazing things. You know, you're certainly a role model for guys like myself and a lot of other guys. And I want to commend you on that, man, because when I reached out to you, you know, you gave me your thoughts, you gave me your opinion, and you've always been there. So giving back is huge. You know, it's a huge thing. It's enough for all of us out there, you know, to share that pot, to share that melting pot. People say, they say to me all the time, well, what about the competition? Well, I don't believe in competition. You know, you have your fans, I have my fans. Every other brand has the fans that's going to go to that brand for a certain purpose and a certain reason. And I believe that giving back and helping one another is certainly a space for each and every one of us, you know, because we came from the same grit, we came from the same iron, you know, and that's a vision that Joe and Ben Weeder had, and it allows us to be here today. You've done your research, I've done my research. We just did it in two different paths going in the same direction, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's a really nice thing for you to say, Kevin. It's an amazing thing for somebody like you to say you look up to me. So I think that is super cool. And then, by the way, one of the things that Kevin said is 100% true. And I think not just in sports supplements and anything, that if you keep everything close to the chest and you try to not help somebody and are secretive with your wisdom that you learn along the way, then the universe doesn't reward that. That's something where I think like you're asking for trouble, you're asking for problems being like that. And so I always, and I know you do too, Kevin, like helping other people is truly what it's about. So if you're gonna be the kind of person that thinks that a competition where it's like one pot and because you have this much, I can't get that much, that's the wrong way to live life. And I think that we certainly can agree on that. And it's definitely a pleasure and a privilege to have you on the show, Kevin. I'd love to have you back and do like a whole thing instead of just hearing your thoughts and your memories on one thing. There's so much to talk about. Me and you have a lot in common, and I'd love to have you on the show in the future to do that.
All right, Aaron, it's an honor for me to be here on the broadcast and the show and everything and be part of it. Anytime, man, I'll be here. Looking forward to come and being part of your next show and everything. Just let me know.
Thank you, Kevin. We will. Thank you so much for being on, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Best of luck to all you guys and onward and upward, man.
You too, Kevin. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for being on, Kevin.
Brother. Thank you.
Of course.
Bye-bye.
So that was the great Kevin LEVRONE.
One of the best.
Yeah, one of the best, and arguably our favorite.
It's been my favorite for years.
Yeah, so it's great to have him on the show. And I actually do. We talked a little bit about it, but I've been friends with Kevin, and it's cool. I mean, what a surreal thing to have Kevin LEVRONE call you for advice.
Yeah. I remember when he said he was going to call you because we saw him over in Dubai, and then we got back.
Yeah, he's a great person, which is neat, and we have a lot in common. We have a lot of beliefs in common, and the way that we treat people, and it's the same with you, obviously. So I would love to have him back on the show. There's so much to talk about. But we have to get to I don't know. I think Kai might be next.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So Kai Greene has been here all week long. So we're actually going to bring him on in here and physically get him in. So we'll be back in just a minute with Kai.
What's up, Redcon One family? It's your boy, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. And boy, let me tell you about the deal we've got for you. This weekend and this weekend only, spend $50 and get a free limited edition Redcon One Militia t-shirt. With a purchase of $85, guess what? You'll be able to take advantage of getting our rapid fat burning stack. I'm talking about double tap powder. We're talking about our CLA, our Yohimbe, and L-carnitine rapid fat burning stack, brought to you only by Redcon One. If you spend over $130 this weekend, guess what? We will throw in free shipping. But wait, we're not done yet. Use code RED35 and take advantage of an additional 35% off, only by Redcon One this weekend. Tell them your boy sent you.
All right, so we're back, and I don't even have to introduce this guy right here. We've been talking about you, Kai. Everybody has been mentioning in the stories, Kai's stories. We've talked about, or at least I don't know if I've talked about some of the great Kai Olympia moments, but I have some very memorable moments of you on stage. And I know everybody else out there remembers some of there's certain ones like the hair there. That was my hair one. There's a lot of great ones, but that's one that any bodybuilding fan will remember forever. We wanted to hear your Olympia moment. Was that?
But I didn't see it until after having been on the stage.
Right.
My most memorable Olympia moment for me is watching a video and seeing the end of my hair hit another athlete on stage. Technically, I did not mean to do that.
Really?
But when watching the character on stage at that time, it was like, oh yeah, I'm glad he did that. That was so cool, But
And then you're like, oh, that was me.
Man, you should have followed up with something else. That was like it's really pretty cool. But
it looked when you did it, the fact that you didn't mean to do it, it definitely looked like you meant to do it, which is pretty amazing because to have that kind of ability with your hair to swing it around and get somebody with it. Not everybody can do that.
It's a special power.
Master plan.
Yeah.
It was something that was well beyond me, planning that I just couldn't really even take credit for. But once I saw it, I was kind of glad that it happened.
The universe wanted it to happen.
Yes, that's right. You're winning it. Yes.
That's funny watching it yourself. So when you watched that, when you saw the whole thing, did it bring back any emotions watching it? Did you get fired up again watching it?
I think it's really easy to say anything you want to say when you're thinking about saving face or thinking about what the politically correct thing to say is after an experience like that. But I think, at the time, to really try to answer that question in the truest way, I think there's always going to be a bunch of emotions that are wrapped up in seeing anything that relates to something that was just so important to you at another time in your life. And I think even still, there's just some of that. It was a part of your life and your daily practice every day for a very, very long time. So and
it was captured on video, so it's there forever. So that's an interesting question. How many times have you watched that moment? Was it once? Was it hundreds of times? A dozen times?
You know what? I think the stuff that I've done, I don't think I've watched nearly as much as the stuff that I think I needed to watch at another time in my life when I was inspired or when I was taking from that material to help with my process of visualizing and helping to convince myself of the ability to believe in the possibility of achievement, and thinking that was something that was that much more accessible to me because I was able to expose myself to a lot of material. So you saw the Franco Columbus on stage, you saw the Arnold on stage, you saw every Olympia video, every battle for the Olympia, every athlete that was on the road to becoming the success that you dreamed about. You watched, and with seeing their example, I think was the expression of possibility that you felt that much more in touch with as a result of seeing their example. So there was a time when you ate that kind of material to build yourself and to will yourself toward the moment.
So for you now, whether they're an Olympian, champion or not, was there any one person that really that was the material you watched?
Or
the
a
most?
moment that you watched over and over again.
That fueled that fire.
It wasn't like you actually doing it, somebody else.
Yeah, more someone else.
So like what one thing you had to think of something?
Oh man, I think that's the thing. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I think everybody. I spent a lot of time watching a lot of the women competitive bodybuilders at the top of their sport. They were the most dynamic posers. They were the most entertaining, but they also were, I think, one of the necessary blueprints to help bridge the gap to go from my teenage or pre-teenage, prepubescent body to this 290-pound monster. The in between, the bridge, for me, was women's bodybuilding. And
why do you think that is? Because you were attracted to them? Because they were hot? Or because
actually, no. The truth, if a woman could do it, they had more things working against them, more obstacles perceivably than I did as a teenage competitive bodybuilder.
Makes sense.
To stop you from. So when you look at yourself at like 12 or 9 in the mirror and you see this Kermit the Frog looking body type staring back at you saying, man, I imagine it though when I close my eyes to see this, image that looks like the Bertil Foxes and the Arnold Schwarzeneggers and, these just amazing, the Jay Cutlers, but again, when we open our eyes again and we're standing there as, again, this, pre-teenage, pre-puberty body, to try to imagine being able to go from that to this hulking, image of incredible gobs of muscle, it's a very big leap. Sometimes that leap is just too far to really be able to reach. But the in between, if you can put in between that leap, the women's bodybuilding or a bridge, so it's an example of taking a larger, seemingly impossible goal and turning it into a very small but seemingly easier idea to achieve.
Makes sense. And obviously back then, there was obviously no YouTube or anything like this. So you couldn't watch teenage bodybuilding.
No,
so there was no. And actually, Cutler and you are about the same age. So when he was right,
yeah. Well, I met him at the Teen Nationals.
Oh, did you meet him?
Yeah. Back then, you saw talent, and the talent had a chance to,
You were competing
really
against
develop.
them. You competed that year.
Nah, I wasn't even developed enough as a teenager yet to stand on stage competitively in that level of competition.
But you were there.
Yeah, absolutely. I went there. I had a friend.
That's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's
So you saw Jay and Branch compete against each
Jay
other.
and Branch. That's right. And Joe Roboto and Julio Rivera, Caprice Murray, and Rodney St. Cloud was a teenager.
So when you watched that, so were you the exact same age as Jay, or you're younger, or you're right
I was
there?
younger. I was younger than Jay.
Yeah.
But Jay was like 240.
Oh no, he was
heavyweight
huge.
teenager, cross-rided quads, and just looked just like more than a heavyweight man, as a teen.
Well, they had great. I mean, the teenage bodybuilding then was crazy.
Oh yeah.
There's obviously there's a lot of talent. Those guys all went pro.
Yeah.
Now it's a much different thing. I don't even know what Teenage Nationals looks like anymore.
No idea.
I mean, they have it, I know, but very rare. Cody Montgomery came out of there and was successful, but not really as an open pro bodybuilder. But yeah, the level of talent going there as a teenager had to be kind of intimidating. I would imagine if I saw it, I'd be intimidated now looking at it. So at 40 years old, like these kids are big. I need to get back to the gym.
Exactly.
Did you walk out of there inspired?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There was that year Porter Cottrell was actually doing the guest posing and kind of officiating over the event, and you kind of got a chance to hopefully take a picture with Porter Cottrell. And it was really interesting because the first time I got a chance to stand next to a chance though to see a wonderful ambassador show me how to do it. And he was aware of the psychology. Here's the thing. One of the things he did was he did not compete against you. You know, he turned that moment into an opportunity to encourage.
Right.
You know, and he did it in such a real meaningful way. I asked him, could I take a picture with him, right? And
we had a systematic camera or something.
Yeah, back then that's right. We had to get 24 exposure, that $5, $10 camera, the little flash on it. Wait, hold on.
You couldn't screw around with those pictures.
Yeah, if you screwed up,
you screwed up the picture. That's it.
Blocked.
You won't know until later. You're like, no.
Yeah, we don't even have that anymore.
Wow.
Apparently, all that stuff is gone.
Kodak, all those companies even.
Yeah, the one
like barely don't exist. The film companies don't exist.
Either that or they. Just amazingly thick and muscular dude, wearing what he was wearing, a t-shirt or whatever. He just turned to the side, allowing me to stand straight on in the photo. And I didn't know anything about the illusions or whatever, but man, he knew that once we took the photo, that I'm eventually going to get the photo developed and I'm going to look at the photo. And I looked at that photo, and what you saw when you saw that photo was, man, you know what? You're a teenager and you're standing next to, this world-renowned professional bodybuilder, and you look just as big, if not bigger, than he does. Now, mind you, you didn't know about, out angling or anything at that time. You just thought, hey, man, and you saw what you wanted to see. And what I wanted to see, and anybody that knew me understanding what was so important about that was, hey man, do you realize you're standing next to a top IFBB pro and you look just as big as he does, if not bigger? And it was like, yeah, it's destiny. You have the genetics, you have the potential, you just got to be willing to do the work. Awesome. Porter Cottrell was able to take that moment, decide not to compete, and what he did in a gesture would become the thing that almost becomes like this message to your self-development, a help to your, personal self-achievement idea strategy going forward. Hey, young man, dream big dreams, and, have big thoughts, big ideas about what you want to do in the world. And guess what? Maybe if you work hard enough and you believe it, maybe you can bring that to reality. Maybe your thoughts can become things. Porter Cottrell was like really cool in that moment because he helped me learn that lesson by making the sacrifice that he did and not competing with a teenager.
It's funny. It's amazing